Hello and welcome to another episode of The Thing About Cars. I am Mickey Desai. Around the table, we've got our good gang of hosts and friends, starting with Ben. Ben, how are you?
Moderately neato. How about you?
Moderately neato. Uh, so does that there means that there's moments when you are supremely neato?
Oh, sure, yeah.
And does that involve a
Yep.
base or a Lotus?
Either.
Dave, you about to say it, Dave
I
Pollock?
said we have seen him, supremely neato.
Yes, we have. That was Dave. How are you, Dave?
I am fabulously flummoxed
Why are you flummoxed?
because I was trying to come up with an adjective, and that was I was struggling for one, and so I decided if I'm going to be struggled, I might as well be fabulous doing it.
And do a little alliteration while we're having it. That's
That's
perfect.
right.
I love it. Misty, how goes it in the Netherlands?
Finer than frog hair.
That's fantastic. Excellent. That's Misty. And our trivia are Tim. Hello, Tim.
Good morning. Feeling currently correctly caffeinated.
You know, it'd be
Wait.
really cool if we could do an entire episode of either alliteration or rhymes. Like
Oh,
Dr. Seuss does the thing about cars.
beat poetry
Oh, my.
for our podcast. There we go.
Yeah.
I like it. Let's do it. Let's script it. That would be very, it would be a 10-minute episode, but that's it.
Heavily edited
know.
afterwards, I'm sure.
Well, I think we need to have a little more faith in ourselves.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
it's possible, but I know we have some things we need to talk about today. I have a couple things on my own agenda. Lewis Hamilton, there's a claim that having better speakers in your car can improve its efficiency, its gas mileage. But before we get into that, Tim, take it away with some trivia, please.
Okay. Achieving this distinction way back in 1934, which American automobile manufacturer is the only one to have powered the following their cars by the following four types? All right. Steam, electric, gasoline, and diesel.
So you're going to name some manufacturers who have produced cars using each of those methods already.
There's all yes, they use all four, and they achieved this by 1934. So it's either Ford, Chrysler, Oldsmobile, or Packard. Again, achieving the distinction back in 1934, which American automobile manufacturer is the only one to have powered its cars by all of the following four types of power: steam, electric, gasoline, diesel. And our potential answers are Ford, Chrysler, Oldsmobile, and Packard.
Interesting. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with a Phil the Ballard update. Phil, what is the update? What happened to Phil?
that's what I'm wondering. We're getting really close to preseason testing, which is then,
Yeah.
it was at the end of this month, and then the following weekend is the first race of the Formula One season. So my question is, what kind of training, program is Phil going through right at this point in time to, prepare for the season up ahead?
Well, I did have an email from him this morning saying that he has a new base coat and primer put on.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
He
And
also
I'm sure
said,
he's doing lots of stretching exercises to remain limber.
yep.
I was, I think his workout regime includes constantly listening to the song "I Get Knocked Down, but I Get Back Up Again."
Is he doing a lot of meditation so he can, remain, relaxed and reduce the chance of injury as he goes careening through, the wild blue yonder?
Well, he's doing a lot of meditation, but it's more because he's coming off of a really bad breakup. Tracy the traffic cone just like took him for a ride.
That hussy, that wanton harlot.
Well,
Damn it.
well,
Does she,
Now
does
I
she
I
have
want wontons.
it's that reflective tape. It's that combination of
Wow.
white reflective tape on an orange cone that just does Phil every time.
all
I know.
flashy, no substance. Phil's
Yeah.
right for that.
Hollow on the inside. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
can we hope the best for Phil this year? Can we hope that he actually doesn't meet with wreckage and ruin?
I'd rather think that has to do with I'm going to say honestly, if I'm very, very honest, that has less to do with his participation in the Formula Series and more based on his participation in the Porsche Super Cup. Because it's been my experience that while track limits tend to be more strongly enforced in the Formula Series, at Porsche Super Cup, they're like, we do not care. It's very similar to the the marking lines on roads in India. They're just a suggestion.
They're
Yeah.
just
Well,
suggestions.
in Formula cars, if they hit a bollard, they're going to have bodywork damage. Whereas in Porsche Super Cup, they go by more of the that'll buff out
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
edict. Yeah.
So speaking,
either that or I've got a hammer.
Okay.
all right. So let's talk about F1 then. The big news, of course, for this week is Lewis Hamilton leaving Mercedes. What's going on?
Oh, wait.
Uh,
We've got two big things that happened in Formula One.
We do?
Yes.
Okay.
So Wednesday, right now there's only 10 teams in Formula One. And one of them being the American Haas team, which, back when it started back in 2014, started off with some high hopes and has kind of slid back into mediocrity at best for the last few seasons. And Andretti Global, which is championed by father Mario and son Michael Andretti. Mario Andretti, of course, being the Formula One World Championship driving winner from 1978, naturalized American. They have a company called Andretti Global, and they submitted a bid to be the new 11th team in Formula One. And there had been a lot of back and forth as to whether adding an 11th team would add value to the series, because right now it's, you have to have a charter to be in Formula One. So all the revenue that's generated by Formula One gets distributed throughout the 10 teams. So if you have an 11th team, now you're thinning out that distribution. And that decision finally came down on Wednesday, and they rejected Andretti's bid to join the series for the 2026 season, but they were still leaving the door open to possibly have them enter in 2028. And it was a large document that came out from the FIA, who does the technical rules for Formula One, as to all the reasons why they thought that Andretti would not be a good fit for addition to Formula One at this time.
It's all crap. I mean, honestly, it's my personal opinion. Allegedly, it's
allegedly your personal opinion.
Yeah. I'm really covering my not insignificant posterior here. I think it's, there's always been a significant amount of I don't want to say anti-American sentiment in F1, but it's very much, it's like the Middle Eastern and the Asian tracks are great. But I think after Force India kind of meandered out of F1, they're just like, no, they need to be European teams, and nobody cares, United Kingdom, what you say. You're not the eighth continent. You are part of Europe, even if you are no longer part of the European Union. There, I said that. Come at me, bro. So yeah, but I think there's, just even allowing the Honda engines in, took a lot. I mean, because there's definitely that, if you're not German or possibly French, as far as engine manufacturers, what are you?
Honda ran a whole car back in the 60s.
Yeah, actually,
that's it.
American Richie Ginther got his one and only Formula One win driving a Honda constructed car, not just the engine. The entire team was a Honda car.
That's funny about the anti-American thing, though, because I can recall back when I was a Formula One fan back in the 80s, I remember there was an American driver, a guy named Eddie Cheever. And the reason I remember him is because whenever I watched a race during the TV coverage, every time he was mentioned, it was always followed by the American.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now we've got Logan Sargent, but it's very much, and this is, my opinion, and I will admit, I haven't been watching F1 for decades, but, from, everything that I see, if you're not European or Commonwealth, then it's, kind of like, no, we don't want this. So the fact that there's, maybe if you're Brazilian, you can slide in, but maybe as a driver,
Right.
but in general, as far as as far as teams, as far as principles, etc., there is, I think Bernie Ecclestone was key in keeping Americans out of F1 as in positions of American teams, and the fact that Haas even got in, I think, was a minor miracle, even though
Yeah.
Haas is actually the Dutch word for
Hair.
hair, yeah, hair.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Well, I think, America has had a strange relationship with Formula One going all the way back to the beginning of the championship. I mean, from the first year for the F1 championship was 1950. And from 1950 through 1960, the Indy 500 was actually a part of the F1 World Championship. But because Indy 500 runs to different rules than F1 as far as engine size and car construction goes, very few Formula One teams came over to take part in the race. But so technically, the very first American F1 winner was what was his name again? Harry Schell, because he won the 1950 Indianapolis 500. But I mean, we've had previous American champions. Phil Hill won the 1960 World Championship driving for Ferrari. Dan Gurney actually became the first and so far only American driver to have won a Formula One race in a car of his own construction, the Anglo-American Racers Eagle, powered by the great Westlake, well, great or not so great Westlake V12 motor. He won the 1967 Belgian Grand Prix at Spa. And then Michael Andretti himself actually raced in Formula One in 1993. And did not make a lot of friends in Formula One at the time. And he raced 13 of the 16 races that year before getting released from the McLaren team. I mean, he crashed out of his first 4 races that season. And when he did that season, he lived in the U.S. for the majority of the year, and then would commute to the races. So, there was always a question of how dedicated his involvement was as far as being a part of the team, and how jet lagged he might have been for all the European races.
So what we're saying here then is it's 2 or 3-fold, because I'm looking at stuff that's clearly insinuates that the decision is nationalistic, right? He's not European, therefore he doesn't belong in the series. So that's one. Number 2 is I'm seeing something that says he failed to come to a meeting that FOI requested, and the word is that he didn't even know the meeting was supposed to happen, that email got lost in his spam folder. So that's 2 reasons. And then so overall, again, it's just 2 reasons, but overall it sounds like politics to me, right? It's just
I think a lot of it is, and I think, because one thing that I have heard, and maybe Tim, you can confirm this, is there was also some concern if they could deliver a car, because am I correct in thinking that the rules are going to change again in 26?
Yes.
That there's going to be some significant changing.
I think it's a different powertrain. I think the motor is still going to be a 1.6 liter turbo, but there's supposed to be some differences brought up at that time, and I can't remember exactly what they are. I mean, it's not going to be a sea change like going from 3.5 liter naturally aspirated to 1.6 turbos, but it is they are kind of resetting the engine rules at that point.
Yes.
But Andretti has Andretti Global has shown that they already had a car in the wind tunnel to start, which is the first step of the development process, really. So they definitely made a significant commitment and show that they were working in the right direction to get something done. But so after that decision came through on Wednesday, and the backlash from that, ironically, we had the big Lewis Hamilton announcement on Thursday.
Hold on, before we go to Hamilton, I'm still stuck on Andretti. Okay, so FOI is like a business, like anything else, right? They want viewers. Viewers increase the value of their advertising dollars, and so wouldn't Andretti make for a better viewing spectacle in some ways? Are they assuming that the American audience just wouldn't be interested, or that the worldwide audience would not be interested in seeing this happen?
Yes and no. The question is, how competitive do they think that Andretti would be coming in? I mean, we've already got an American team. We have the Haas team. in Formula One.
Speaking of teams that don't bring value to the sport.
Right.
Well,
But
I mean, you know, it was.
and you know the issue with Haas right now is that they're majorly funded by the team owner Gene Haas, who owns Haas Automation, which, you know, if you've ever had a CNC machine here in the U.S., it's been from Haas, and you know, he only puts so much money into the team, so they don't manage to develop their cars sufficiently to be competitive.
Okay. All right.
There is
So
that. There is that.
Hamilton.
And then, well, and then one final thing, you could also say, you could kind of also say that,
Tim got so upset that he just walked off the show.
I know, I know. I mean, trust me, I'm upset too. Then there was, oh God, what is it? Aston Martin, which is owned by Lawrence Stroll. You could actually consider that a Canadian team, you know, and it could be that the FIA is saying, you know, okay, there's enough North American teams in all this, and you know, also look at it. I mean, there's only right now let's see, there's Canada, there's COTA, Miami, and Las Vegas. So out of 22, 24 races, only 4 are actually, you know, in US time zones. You know, so I think that has a lot to do with it as well. You know, I mean, it's one thing, you know, maybe it's slightly easier for you know, some of the US market to you know, watch the APAC races, you know. No, actually not, because you know, for Suzuka, I'm up at 6 a.m., which means midnight for East Coast.
So, right. Anyway, why did Tim get up and leave? What's he upset about?
The fact that Lewis Hamilton just broke up with Toto Wolff and is now going to Ferrari.
Yeah,
So
what's
Charles
up with that?
Leclerc. Well, I mean, shall we just always say that Ferrari is the dumping ground of former world champions?
Damn,
Wow.
Misty.
I mean, I really
Sebastian
haven't
Vettel.
had anything valuable to contribute to this since Phil the Ballard, but that would seem very stark.
Am I wrong? Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Raikkonen, Fernando Alonso.
Wow.
I mean, it's, you know, I mean,
So Ferrari's spending all this money on people who can't deliver? Is that what you're saying?
no, Ferrari is
Has-beens?
spending. No, I'm not saying has-beens. I mean, they're investing in people that on paper should bring them world championships, and then their strategists go out back and smoke a shit ton of weed. And, you know, and then you end up with Charles Leclerc in therapy.
So I hear that about Italian weed in particular. It's just
Yeah.
yeah.
Or it's either that, or they're, you know, or they're out back, you know, in the motorhomes snorting marinara sauce. I'm not quite sure what's going on,
Oh,
but
that's it.
there's
It's marinara. It's not marijuana.
yes, that's it.
Ah.
That's it. You know, I mean, Ferrari on paper has the capacity to be a very competitive team. You've seen that with Carlos Sainz Jr., smooth operator. You've seen that with Charles Leclerc, who is a Monegasque. He is not French. Thank you very much. He is from Monaco. You know, just living for the tax breaks. You know, I mean, I mean, the current lineup of Chuck and Chuck, you know, because Charles and Carlos, Chuck and Chuck. You know, they are, you know, for the most part, very talented drivers, very, you know, very competent drivers, very much capable of, you know, maybe not necessarily outpacing Max Verstappen, but certainly putting a hurting on, you know, on Checo. You know, definitely, you know, should be up there. You know, and I would say in the top 6. You know,
Mhm.
so it should be Red Bull, it should be Ferrari, you know, and then you know, McLaren, Mercedes, and those two can fight it out for best of the rest. But their strategy, I mean, I don't know what to say about their strategy, because I know I'm sitting here and I'm looking at these people and I'm going, okay, first of all, let me be blunt. I mean, I have ADHD. Duh. You know, and I sometimes have, you know, executive function issues. They bite my butt, bite my not insignificant butt. Um, you know, but I'm not sure Ferrari has executive function. I kind of think that their, you know, thought process is running on, you know, 2 very poorly paid and extremely overcaffeinated interns at best.
Well, okay. So the car and driver, I'm looking at an article that they wrote. They say they're calling this a completely grid transforming move. I'm paraphrasing, right? But major grid transformation. And Misty's shaking her head. You don't believe this?
No, because Ferrari has a shit car.
Hmm.
I mean, trust me, and well, no. Oh, rephrase. I misspoke. Mercedes has a shit car. To put it, the kindest thing I heard about the Mercedes car last year, and this was, of course, from mostly British supporters. Because I believe it was the W14 was the name of the car, and it was consistently called the Wank 14.
Mhm.
The how Mercedes, a team of Mercedes caliber, misjudged so severely on their car. I have no idea. I don't know.
So Hamilton's gonna, yeah.
And I mean, honestly, if the number of times that I've heard Toto, on the radio, yes, I mean, he's literally said out loud, yeah, we know it's a shit car.
Hmm.
I mean, he said that during a race. So
Sounds to me like they should let Andretti into the ring.
of course. I mean, duh. I mean, the more the merrier. There's a reason that is a saying,
So
Um,
in any case, if what I didn't know is that this is not an immediate move, that Hamilton's going to finish out the season with Mercedes, and that he's not going to Ferrari until next year, right?
yeah, I'm not. I kind of had an inkling that something like this might happen. When they finally announced that he had a contract extension so late in last season. I think just based on what I see and what I hear during races, I think that you know the honeymoon between Lewis and Toto is definitely over, and they are entering into mediation. Not sure who's going to get to keep the dog. I think that Lewis Hamilton has been so very frustrated, and I'm not going to say he's wrong. Everybody knows, if you don't know, that I'm not a Lewis Hamilton fan, because I am not a Lewis Hamilton, at least on the track. I find what he does off the track to be absolutely admirable and amazing. A great person off the track. On the track, he's oh my God, he's a whiny. Bless his heart. So but I think and I think that for whatever reason, Toto has transferred his affections to George Russell.
So you're saying Formula One is an affectionate sport. Got it.
Well, not for the Bollards.
Yeah.
Tim, you're about to say welcome back, Tim. We're going to wrap this episode with a moment of trivia. Go for it, Tim. Okay.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I had to step out for all that. I had some major digging going on here at our house. Yes. So, all right, back to that. Achieving this distinction in 1934. Which American?
No, I'm kidding, Tim. We have one more thing we need to talk about. I was just giving you a hard time. Okay, so let's do switch gears away from F1, because we could sit here and talk about this all day. Ben, how did you have something you wanted to bring up today?
Not that I can recall.
Okay, somehow I thought maybe I was just dreaming. Okay, so get this. Motor Trend has an article that they published on January 29th of this year. The headline is "How Better Speakers Can Improve Your Car's Efficiency," and they're talking about gas mileage. Have you guys got any clue? And I've read the article, so I know the answer, but do you guys have any clue how a better sound system in your car can improve your car's gas mileage?
More efficient speakers pulls less from your alternator, creating less drag on the engine.
Ben, take a guess.
Well, it's a little bit more roundabout, but I know that there are a lot of cars now that are putting a little bit of artificial engine noise into the audio systems, basically to give the drivers a little bit of a jolly. And so if the car sounds to the driver more aggressive than it actually is, the driver may not put his foot down or her foot down as much.
Thank you for including me in that.
Dave,
yeah, sorry about that. I did not mean to be sexist.
All right, the royal he. Yeah.
Just at me next time, okay?
Dave, what do you think they mean?
I'm guessing it's more of a human factors element, that a better sound system, essentially better music, better beats, leads to a more consistent rhythm of driving pattern.
Misty?
As the person that's never gotten a speeding ticket listening to the Phantom of the Opera too loud in their car. Man, I'm gonna say that if it sounds better, you might not turn it up as much if you're anyone but me. Which would then of course draw less power. I don't know.
Wait, is it
Okay.
if you're listening to
I have no idea. I'm the person that turns down the radio because they're lost.
right? It's
Okay.
not like it's not like listening to music from the hearts of space makes you mellow out behind the wheel, and so you don't drive as aggressively. Is that
No,
it?
that's none of these are the correct reasons. So the claim here is that, yeah, and they're talking about one particular vehicle made by Infinity. I'm not going to get into the Infinity shtick, but the one thing is that they're able to make speakers out of better material so that they actually weigh less. But this is not the reason why you're getting better mileage. Uh, the claim is that some internal combustion vehicles OEMs will lock up torque converters at different RPMs, or there's cylinder deactivation that creates a boom noise. And what they're doing is they're using active noise cancellation that resolves these uncomfortable noises for the driver so that the engine can do what it needs to do and the driver's unaware of these big booms and stuff happening in their engine. So the results are real. They're saying that active noise cancellation for cylinder deactivation got 1 or 2 miles per gallon more for internal combustion vehicles. And I'm sure they've got similar, things for cylinder deactivation. So there's torque converters, right? The locked up, the locking up torque converters. It's just active noise cancellation. Apparently, putting features into an engine that give you better gas mileage are uncomfortable for drivers. So we have to fool the drivers into thinking the noises aren't there, so the engines can perform better.
I have long argued for the fact for active noise cancellation for several passengers.
Uh,
Yeah, well, I mean, I
Especially
only have,
toddlers in the back seat. Yeah.
Toddlers, somebody who shares a house with me who has a tendency to gasp.
I can identify.
In-laws.
my offspring who screams every time I go through this one particular roundabout.
Ben,
like-
look out! She's behind you.
Yeah.
She's not there.
I'm like, do you not understand? You cannot slide a shoebox under my car. I have downforce. I have ground effects. And my
So-
son's hanging on to the oh shit handle going, ah! And I'm like, the hell is wrong with you? And he's like,
All right.
I'm your child. And I went, okay, yeah, valid point.
So that was it. That's the active noise cancellation thing. Speakers improve your gas mileage, and on the one hand, great. On the other hand, I'm like, can we just get used to the idea that engines need to do what they need to do to get better gas mileage, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
hear no ugly engine sounds.
But no, what's going to happen then is, as Ben said, they're going to pipe in the noise so that you can hear a sexy rumble when you
That's
turn on
fine.
your car, and it comes
That's
through the
fine.
speakers and not the tailpipe.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
General
fine.
Motors has been doing this since the 1990s, maybe even the 80s, where they had the feature on the radio that the volume increases with road speed,
Oh yeah.
because they couldn't engineer an aerodynamically or mechanically quiet car. So
Right.
just turn up the radio and people will be happy.
That's it.
It's
Oh,
practically a dishwasher on wheels.
Yeah, pretty much. I just want to throw in that, lately, there's been a lot of stuff going on in my life that we're not going to get into now because we do not have 3 hours. So my stress levels have been kind of high. So, and being ADHD, how does one, counteract that? Well, you take, you find games where you can micromanage crap. And right now, currently, I'm literally playing Car Mechanic Simulator 2015 on Steam, and it is so much fun. It is ridiculously fun.
Don't tell me this. I haven't put Steam on my machine yet, and I don't want to because I have little enough time as it is. So
it is but I mean, it is absolutely perfect for, I need 20, 30 minutes to, and it is so satisfying, when you get that rear spring, replaced. It is so very satisfying. But it is also one of those, to where you can say, okay, I'm going to fix 2 cars and that's it, and I'm done. And then I'm going to, go and do what I need to do. So
I love getting my rear spring replaced. Tim, take us away with the moment of trivia.
Okay. Achieving this distinction back in 1934, which American automobile manufacturer is the only one to have powered cars by the following 4 types of power production methods: steam, electric, gasoline, and diesel? So was it Ford, Chrysler, Oldsmobile, or Packard? And we'll start with Ben.
Oh, well, let's see. My gut says Oldsmobile for a variety of vague reasons, but that's what I'm going to go with.
Okay, Misty.
Anybody but Ford.
I
Packard.
know it wasn't them.
Yeah, I was like, you can't even get a
No
truck
slight
that
against
runs.
Ford. They just didn't do that much adventurous stuff in those days.
Gotcha.
Actually, I will say Packard on that.
Okay. All right. And Dave.
Come away with me, Lucille, on my Mary Oldsmobile. Seriously,
Okay.
seriously, because I think it really comes down to either Packard or Oldsmobile, because I don't think the other two are old enough to have done all four of those.
They all existed at the same time, but all prior to 1934. But
yeah,
all right.
but I think for the history, Steam is the one I'm really coming down to.
Oh, right. Of how old you have to be
how
having
old,
a
how
steam
old the
car.
brand is, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mickey.
You know, I'm going to hazard a guess. For me, it comes down to between Chrysler and Packard. I have a vague memory of Chrysler doing something different before they got into internal combustion. But for no good reason at all, I'm just going to pick Packard.
Okay, gotcha. The answer is actually Oldsmobile. Yeah, and I've actually been to someone's house where they have it was a 19 teens electric powered Oldsmobile. And I can't remember how big the bank of batteries was, but he said the mileage that he got from it between charges, and this was maybe about 5-6 years ago, he says was comparable to what was being offered at the time on the Nissan Leaf. It was the same amount of range.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jinx,
But
yummy Coke.
bear in mind it didn't go as fast.
Right. Yes. It was also like
Totally not the problem.
taller than an SUV. It was a very light vehicle.
And very little, if any, protection from the elements. Not
It
very
actually was a fully
comfortable.
enclosed cockpit. It was.
Oh my God, Ben,
yeah.
toughen up.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fine with it, but
Jeez. Jeez.
Yeah.
You leave Ben. Just leave Ben alone.
No.
Yeah,
No.
big bully.
If I stopped giving Ben a hard time, he would get very upset and think that I don't like him. So we cannot have that. That's that's the whole thing. That's what I keep telling people. If I'm not giving you hell, I don't like you.
Yeah, you're.
Remember when it comes to driver comfort. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, go ahead.
When it comes to driver comfort, I am the only one of us who regularly messes around with a half-century-old car.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when it comes to people worrying about you not giving them abuse, your human resources file begs to differ.
All right. So next time we'll do a 3-hour episode called "The Adventures in Misty World," or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm
something
gonna
like
need
that.
that to be during cocktail hour.
Yeah, it'll be a
That
happy
will
hour.
be cocktail hour.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I was listening to another podcast about archaeology, and history, and it was another podcast about archaeology and history because this ties in. Shut up, Mickey. Because
I didn't say anything.
You don't need a mood ring. You have a face.
On that note, thank you for joining the thing about cards.
I am not done about our cocktail hour. But what he did was, the guy picked a topic that he was going to discuss. It was called awful archaeology, and then he made a drink or a cocktail that tied into that theme.
Okay, so between now and this next episode, I will come up with the Misty Manhattan.
That's perfect. I love it.
Perfect. Just let me know, so I can, run out and,
The Misty Manhattan. I like it.
I was going to say so I could run out to the liquor store. What I meant was so I could walk downstairs to the liquor store.
There you go. Just put a big straw, just like into the big straw between you and
throw a basket off the balcony. I'm just going to literally call down there and say, I need this, this, and this. And I'm going to chunk a basket off the balcony.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us for another episode of The Thing About Cars. If you see a Bollard, please do not hit it. And be safe out there. We will see you with another episode in about a week. Take care, everybody.
Shut up, Mickey.
Bye, y'all.